And this present window of opportunity during which a truly peaceful and interdependent world order might be built will not be here for too long.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
There's a need for a new world order, but it has different characteristics in different parts of the world.
And the President outlined his vision of a new world order in which the US would participate fully,
We'll tell you
one rooted on four basic principles.
Non-proliferation and disarmament.
Man. None of it is true.
The promotion of peace and security. The preservation of our planet. And a global economy that advances opportunity for all people.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
We are not just going to be waiting for legislation in order to make sure that we're providing Americans the kind of help that they need. I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward in helping make sure our kids are getting the best education possible, making sure that our businesses are getting the kind of support and help they need to grow and advance, to make sure that people are getting the skills that they need to get those jobs that our businesses are creating. And I've got a phone that allows me to convene Americans from every walk of life, nonprofits, businesses, the private sector, universities, to try to bring more and more Americans together around what I think is a unifying theme, making sure that this is a country where if you work hard, you can make it.
A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order.
It's about the future of Europe and a new world order.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
Your plan, you can keep your plan.
America is under a dumbed-down psyop being conducted by the powerful forces to the left. Now, the importance to understand is that the tax-free foundations, the tax-exempt foundations that Obama mentions, and all of the things he mentions, are all funding this ideology, this communist manifesto being slowly put into place. And I'm sorry if I'm upsetting people who are liberals, but you will be the destruction of this great country with all the good intentions for the utopian idealism will never come to fruition. It is impossible, it never works, it never will. But it certainly is seductive and alluring to the sheeple. Let's talk about this speech that Obama made. Best education possible. Common Core education, an indoctrination program written by governors who have nothing to do with education. Wonder how many of them are Freemasons. business growth. What business growth? Skills that the workers will need by the jobs created from this business growth.
Sure, these corporations are creating jobs in India and China.
The nonprofits are mentioned. The tax-exempt foundations, which are funding the education system from the beginning, this indoctrination, dumbing down system. My son's getting work that I graduated from high school in 1985. When I was in high school in my freshman year, 9th grade, I had covered the work they were doing in 9th grade in 6th or 7th grade. So they certainly, that's just the education, the dumbing down of it. Then the indoctrination and the literal propaganda about all of these leftist causes, global warming and climate change, these factual things. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, don't you understand, if you embrace these policies, you're going to feel okay about giving them money for all these causes. Everything that they say, all of this is to take your wealth.
So my son is in the 9th grade, and needless to say, the work isn't challenging. He had 8 years of Catholic school and learned, actually, how to read and write. And interestingly enough, they told him, and I have it in writing, a letter that they sent to us, that they were so pleased that he has a 12th grade reading level, which, ladies and gentlemen, really isn't a 12th grade reading level. He has a 9th grade reading level, as we would have had when we were kids. It's just been dumbed down so much that they're just, you know, what was work that was being done in 12th grade is in college, and 11th grade is in college, and what was done in 6th and 7th grade is in high school. This is what's happened to this country. And believe you me, it's all the doings of the change agents at the Department of Education. Read a book by Charlotte Iserby entitled "The Deliberate Dumbing Down of the World." Actually, or is it the nation or the country? Just Google that; it'll come up. I forgot the title exactly, but it details it. She was the head of the Department of Education under Reagan, and brought this to Reagan's attention. And what did Reagan do? He fired her. So you got to understand how things are operating behind the scenes here. Things are not as they appear, ladies and gentlemen. And if you really want to be sickened by Common Core, today in health class, my 9th grade son was taught how to put a condom on a dildo. There was a demonstration. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. It happened in Torrington, Connecticut, at Oliver Wolcott Technical High School in their health class. In fact, here are some scanning questions. You can just look at these, freeze the frame and look at them so it doesn't take up too much time, of all of these lesson plans about safe sex. It's outrageous. And as a parent, I'm outraged. And those that think that this is a good thing and it'll stop sexual diseases and it'll stop promiscuity, it says it's okay. No, it doesn't. It won't. It says it's okay. Now, and interestingly enough, my son has got now mixed messages because he went to Catholic school where, you know, there's an essence of morality here. And they're saying, no, you can have sex, just use a condom. Well, what if the condom breaks? Well, then you'll get an abortion. I mean, this is where we're at. This is what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. And please don't put your head in the sand. It's truth. So this is what they're teaching our children. They're indoctrinating them to be workers. They're indoctrinating them to memorize facts and not to think individually. Individual God-given inalienable rights are not even discussed. It's the collective, the community. Like Melissa Perry, that disgusting thing on MSNBC that says, you know, our children really aren't our children. You see, these are all communist ideologies.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
Being basically pounded on your head over and over again through the media, through advertising, and of course through the overtones in just about every source of media, from books to music videos to films, of course, cinema, Hollywood, if you want to call it that, Hollyweird, you know, the CIA connection to this, a project called Mockingbird. Everybody has to pay attention to what's going on in this country, ladies and gentlemen. If you thought Hitler was bad, and Stalin, and Mao, well, what if they were all one force that really was behind all of them? And they still exist. The ones behind the money, the funders of all of these wars, the benevolent philanthropists who endowed their fortunes to humanity, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Endowment for Peace, which determined that the only solution for peace is and changing the world socially is through war, for radical social change.
But we have this family values being attacked. We have trading family values for immorality. That's what's going on in the media, again, controlled by these corporations that are giving all these jobs that Obama said have been created, and the skills they'll get from the education system created by these governors through Common Core, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates. Incidentally, the main reason why people are putting Common Core in their school districts is because of the funding from Bill and Melinda Gates. They'll get the money if they do this, but they won't get the money if they don't. So they get incentives, bonuses, perks to put Common Core in the curriculum of local school districts, state school systems, and now, of course, the criminal indoctrination program known as the Department of Education on the federal level, which must be abolished. Ladies and gentlemen, our constitutional republic is being eviscerated into a socialist, communist, authoritarian. It's going to get worse because the technology level is so high, ladies and gentlemen, I could blow your mind if I told you something. I don't even report half of the things that I know, because I still want to keep things in perspective. But whatever you think that we've seen and the technology we have, it's hundreds or 100 at least, or 100 years further advanced in the future than what we could ever imagine. The chemtrails having nanoparticles that can contain all sorts of again, I don't want to go there, but let's just put it this way. It is true that technology is far more advanced than we know. That's on record by many people. There are many secrets, and the mysteries to this whole situation come back to the New World Order, the plan, the bipartisan plan that's been going on for 60 years. It's indisputable. The evidence is overwhelming. But don't believe me. And certainly don't believe the dictator-in-chief, Barack Obama, who's, again, now we have a judge that's going after his Social Security number. He's a criminal. The whole thing is he's a legend. He's what the CIA calls a legend, ladies and gentlemen. They create legends. They create these people. They create backgrounds for them, histories for them, where they went to school, who they knew, people, and they do this. I know a lot of this is hard for anybody that's not awake, and I'm trying to really reach a lot of people that are not, people that are open-minded, people that have the ability to drink all this in. But really, I mean, this rabbit hole is so deep, ladies and gentlemen, that if you jump through it, you'll never, ever, ever, ever reach the bottom.
Tube is reality, and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube, you even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
And this present window of opportunity during which a truly peaceful and interdependent world order might be built will not be here for too long.
There's a need for a new world order, but it has different characteristics in different parts of the world.
And the president outlined his vision of a new world order in which the US would participate fully,
We'll tell you any
one rooted
shit
on
you want to
four
hear.
basic principles.
Non-proliferation and
Illusions,
disarmament.
man. None of it is true.
The promotion of peace and security. The preservation of our planet. And a global economy that advances opportunity for all people.
The affirmative task we have now is...
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the
is to actually create a new world order.
We are not just going to be waiting for legislation in order to make sure that we're providing Americans the kind of help that they need. I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward in helping to make sure our kids are getting the best education possible, making sure that our businesses are getting the kind of support and help they need to